It's our first stop on the beer, bourbon, and barbecue trail as we enter New York, and we wanted to start off with some barbecue and some bourbon here at Blue Smoke. And we're talking with Kenny Callaghan, who's done some great stuff for the world of both barbecue and bourbon, it looks like. And I don't think there's many places I have ever seen that really just speak America and Americana. When I walk in, I have the drink, I have the barbecue like this place does.
Absolutely. And we have, you know, between our bourbon selection, our American beer selection, our American wine selection, barbecue, which is an American tradition, and I have the jazz standard downstairs, which is an American music tradition. That there's nobody in the country is doing what we're doing here at Blue Smoke. Absolutely not.
What was barbecue in New York City like before you all had done this?
There basically was no barbecue in New York City. It was very, very limited, and most people were kind of cheating. I think we've done a good job at contributing to the landscape of barbecue in New York City, which is a kind of an anomaly that, you know, people don't think of New York City as a barbecue town, but it's starting to change. You know, barbecue is one of those type of foods. It's an American tradition, and I'm just trying to keep it alive.
Well, another American tradition that we like keeping alive is bourbon, as you know, and you're bringing some life to bourbon. You even have your own signature bourbon called Blue Smoke Bourbon.
Absolutely. That's we work in conjunction with the Van Winkles. We've come up with a bourbon that is just really tremendous. You know, bourbon is like barbecue and jazz. It's an American tradition, and no other country can take that away from us.
Well, let's try some bourbons. What do you say?
Awesome.
We'll give it a try here.
Sounds good to me.
All right. That's a good one. There's no proof in that one at all. That's from what I see. So yeah, George T. Stagg, Pappy 23. They're being pretty nice to us here. This looks like some good stuff here. So we're going to do a George T. Stagg, 23 Pappy, and A.H. Hirsch Reserve. This is nice.
Let's do it.
All right.
George T. Stagg?
Yes. Cheers. Now that is some real flavor.
Taste the oak barrel. Absolutely. That's nice.
And this, I think this may be one of the highest proof bourbons there is.
I can feel it. This is good stuff, though. I'm liking this.
So Kenny, if you were going to pair the George T. Stagg, 141 proof, with a barbecue, what would you pair it with?
I'd probably go with a strong flavor with that, our Texas beef ribs. Let's drink some more bourbon.
All right, let's have some.
The Pappy 23, I believe. This is a lovely bourbon. Cheers.
Cheers, Kenny. Here's the Blue Smoke.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
It's like butter.
It's rich but smooth.
Yeah, smooth, that's the word.
What would you pair it with?
I would say this would go great with my Memphis baby back ribs. They're more of a leaner rib. There's not a lot of fat, not a lot of richness to it, and that's kind of what I think of when I'm drinking this bourbon. Just nice and lean and smooth, and that's the way I like my barbecue and my bourbon, even my women.
What's a general rule when you pair what kind of bourbon with what kind of barbecue? Is there any general rules on that, or?
It's just, I mean, really whatever your fancy is. It's kind of like drinking wine with meat or fish. With bourbon, the stronger bourbons I like to pair with stronger flavors, just so there's kind of a little bit of a balance, and in your mouth there's a lot of stuff going on.
This is so good. I love this.
Very good. And what do we got lined up next there?
It looks like we have Hirsch 16 year. Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to Blue Smoke.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you, man. That is tasty.
That's good too. That is awesome.
There's a nice, like, sweet, spicy finish to this one.
Yeah, 3 different bourbons that we tasted were all different style. You know, all producers do their own thing. They all have their own secrets.
I bet you have some secrets too on that barbecue.
I got a bunch of secrets, but I ain't giving them up.
What would you think this one would go with?
This one I would go with probably my Kansas City spare ribs. It's more of a tomato-based sauce, and with a good amount of sugar in it. So I think this bourbon would be perfect with that. I just think that sweetness would offset the smokiness that you have in this bourbon.
And you see a lot of people that come in and they'll have a bourbon and a barbecue. I mean, this
Absolutely.
it's all the time.
A huge bourbon bar,
yeah.
Huge. I mean, we sell a decent amount of wine, tremendous amount of beer, and a ton of bourbon. When you you come to Blue Smoke, they can quote you 90 minutes to get a table, and you know what? People are like, all right, I'll be at the bar. As you see, the bar right now is just absolutely packed, and that's not an accident.
But he is going to let us see the kitchen.
And I'm only going to let you see the kitchen if you guys behave yourselves.
Well, I don't know. After these 3 bourbons,
who knows?
There's no behaving.
Yeah, I know. Who knows?
It's smelling pretty much like heaven.
This is our main kitchen here. We serve basically all the food here.
Pick up, please.
Burger, rack of Kansas City ribs.
These are what you were talking about.
These are the Kansas City ribs.
They would go with. Talking about it, they just laid it out.
It's a nice dish of fried chicken there with the turkey gravy, mashed potatoes.
You're killing me.
Come on in the back. This is our smokers. These are the bad boys.
Are these all different kinds of?
Those are our salt and pepper Texas beef ribs. These are our Kansas City spare ribs, and these are Memphis baby back ribs. And all these they're cooking here for about 7.5 to 8 hours. I can tell just by pulling 200 and 210 degrees for long periods of time. You have to have that connective tissue that holds all the meat cartilages together. You have to make it reach 180 degrees for a certain amount of time, and the connective tissue in that meat starts to break down. That's after about 7.5 hours. That's when you know you have good barbecue. Once they're ready to go, the meat is just going to be basically falling off the bone. Almost. I don't want it falling off the bone. I want it to be just a little bit of bite there in the barbecue. Once it's falling off the bone, it's overcooked. And you're getting the best barbecue in New York City you can right here at Blue Smoke. I just got a nice compliment from a guy from Tennessee, and he said, I'm eating barbecue all over the country, and I came to New York and I was skeptical. I had to try it though because someone else told me about it. He goes, you guys are ranked up there #1 in the country. I was like, you know what? For a New Yorker, if I can be #2 to your best, I'm doing well. This is a lot of wings. This is our chicken wings for the weekend. This is they're rubbed. We brine the wings first, then we rub them, and then we smoke them for about 1 hour and 45 minutes until they're just cooked through. Then from there we cool them down, and then we fry them and coat them with my special sauce. We serve them with a nice homemade creamy blue cheese dip.
You're making bread.
We bake 8 different types of bread here every day. We spin all our own ice creams over here. I mean, everything here at Blue Smoke is made from scratch.
Homemade ice cream too?
We spin it right there in that machine.
So we're going from bourbon to barbecue, bread, and homemade ice cream?
Everything is made fresh, and that's what differentiates Blue Smoke from basically any other barbecue restaurant in New York, in the country, I think.
This is called the Jazz Standard Lounge? Or?
Jazz Standard, yeah, and this is our jazz club that resides underneath Blue Smoke, and it's just been tremendous, and people love jazz, and it's an American tradition.
Are most of the jazz musicians from around here, or do they come up from everywhere?
Come from everywhere. I mean, we have such a wide variety of jazz acts, and it goes from New Orleans jazz all the way to, you know, European jazz bands that are touring through the country, and they'll stop here at Jazz Standard, and we are revered as one of the premier jazz clubs in New York City and in the country. And it's amazing that a lot of people from upstairs don't even know this exists. You know, the jazz fans, they come here for jazz, and but the fans of Blue Smoke, they come here for Blue Smoke. There's very little overlap. It's an amazingly different vibe. Upstairs is rah rah rah, and down here is more casual and you know, refined.
So Kenny's been telling us how good the food is, and we've been smelling it. We're about to try some. I think we just need to turn the cameras off and eat. So I'm glad you enjoyed the tour. You're just going to have to imagine how good this food tastes, because I'm just going to start eating. I don't want to work anymore.
Sound good?
Oh, yeah.
All right, giddy up. Cheers, bourbon.
Here's to bourbon and Blue Smoke and barbecue.
Absolutely.
And for more stories on bourbon, Americana, and all that's good in the South, go to BourbonBlog.com. I'm Tom Fisher.